Okay, so in this video, we're actually going to walk through the process of creating content types. And what we want to try to simulate is that of a project team. So mostly consulting companies or even companies that do in-house development usually have several documentation or several different types of documentation related to their project. So for in this example, we're going to show you how to create content types for technical document, how to create content types for requirement document, how to create content types for a test document, understanding that all those document types will live in a single library. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm here at the SharePoint Ninja homepage, which is a subsite of my existing site collection. And all I'm going to do is go to site settings, and I'm going to create these content types right here on the subsite with the understanding that all of my project sites are going to be children of this current site. So if I go into the content type section, create content type, and here I'm able to name it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this technical document. And I'm going to base this off of the out-of-the-box content type. And actually doing the creation of the content type, it forces you to select a parent content type. And in this case, the parent content type is going to be documents. So the first thing I selected was the group that the parent content type resides in. And then I select the actual content type from within that group. Now, the next section here is asking me to, the content type I'm creating, which group do I want to dump those in? Because what it would do is try to group all these like content types within the group. And if you don't select one, it will automatically choose custom content type group for you. I'm going to create one called the SharePoint Ninjas. And this is going to be our content type group. Now, I have to create this the first time doing this initial content type. But as you can see, as I create the subsequent content types, I will be able to select that existing group. Now, once the content type is created, based on the parent content type selected, it will show you which fields are inherited because you are inheriting, or those fields are assigned to the content type, the parent content type. In this case, we inherit from document, so we get the name field, and this holds the name of the file. And then there's the title field, which is inherit from item. But wait, I did not inherit from the item content type, I inherit from document. So why is item popping in? If I click on the parent content type, document, you would notice that that content type inherits from item. So now you have this chain reaction or this inheritance. So from whatever the parent content type you select, its parent and its parent and its parent, so on and so forth, you consume or inherit all of those columns. So let me go back here. So that's the reason why the item content, the title field is being inherited from item. So let's look at this manifest. So usually in the manifest, I'm sure obviously it will be something more formal than a notepad document, but the information architect will display this or draft this out in a Word document or a document of some type. Here I'm just doing simple notes. So this is the manifest that we will use based on the content types are needed and the various custom site columns that will be created. So if you look at this test document, these are the fields that we would need to ensure that the test document content type has. The same as the technical document, which is the content type we're working on now. We need file, title, description, platform, and application, whereas description is an existing out-of-the-box site column. So let's go ahead and add those in. So to add in description, I'm just going ahead and select existing site column. And then here, I'm going to highlight these options here, available columns, and just start typing in DE, and then that's going to take me into the DE section. And now I have 3 description field options. Now, which one do I want? It really depends on the group that those columns reside in. And the one that I want is actually going to be in the documents and record management column. So I will go ahead and select this. And this is why it's good to group even custom columns that you create into groups. That way, if there are duplicates as it was shown here, based on the group, that will hopefully help you dial into which one you need to select. So here I'm going to hit OK, and that's going to add that to the technical document content type. And now I need to add a new. So the other one I want to add in, let's bring my manifest over here, is platform. Actually, let's do application first and then do platform, only because platform is going to be a little bit complex than application based on the field type. So here we just want to type in the word application, and this is going to be a choice field. And when we get to the next video, when we discuss the gotchas, I will explain the reasoning behind a choice field versus a managed metadata type column, which is what we're going to select for platform. So now for application, I need to select which group. And here again, I'm going to create a custom group. Now you may say, well, you already created a group from content types. How come that group didn't show up? Well, there are separate groupings. Even though they may have the same name, there are separate groupings. You have grouping set for site columns, and you have a different grouping set for content types. So this is my grouping set for site columns. SharePoint Ninja group. Okay. And then for the choice options, I have that here. Let me check my manifest again. For the choice options, these are going to be all the custom. So the difference between apps and platform in our scenario is going to applications going to be homegrown applications created by the organization. So customer tracker, help desk, employee count, my stuff, time saver, YUD, your undisclosed documents, right? So most of these applications have funky names, especially when we create them as employees or employees of an organization. No, there's no telling where these names come from, but I find them very amusing. So basically what I'm gonna do is copy this and dump this into my choice options. But if you go back to the manifest, if you notice the platform, these are gonna be third-party platforms that are either purchased by the organization or inherited from either an acquisition or something along those lines. But basically these are platforms, and these will represent the different platforms that were purchased and integrated within the application with the understanding, right, that these custom apps may be actually SharePoint apps. So the customer tracker, help desk, employee count may actually be SharePoint apps, but there won't be multiple SharePoint platforms unless you have multiple versions. But we're not going to go into that level of complexity for this simple example. Okay, so that's the reason why we have the differences there. So what I'm going to do now is I have my choice options in, remove the default value because I want them to select it. I don't want to select it for them. And now I'll go ahead and add that in. So now what we want to do is go ahead and add in the platform. And again, I want to make this a new column, but I'm going to base this on the managed metadata. Oh, seems like the Wi-Fi is a bit slow here. So I'm going to come in and name this guy platform, form, go down here, manage metadata. And again, now my site column should exist, SharePoint Ninja group, that's that. We don't want to allow multiple values, leave that single. So now we're going to have to scan through the term store and then select which term set we want these applications to be associated with. So here I'm going to go ahead and select, and actually this should be renamed platforms, but it's named applications, but this is the right set that we want to select from. But I will actually go in there and rename that just so that we're consistent and it's not mixed up with the application choice options. All right, so that's there. I have that added in. And when you look at the content type, I think we added all of the needed description, needed site columns for technical, yes, for the technical document content type. So we're good to go. So now we can exit out of here. Let's go to documents, the document library. Let's go ahead and add this technical content type to the document library. So go down to the advanced tab, allow management, click OK. And that's, if you recall, there's going to be the default content type, which is document. And now what we want to do is add an existing. And here, because I have everything in the group, my custom group, I can select that guy from there by filtering by the group. And now this is going to be added to this document library. So now if I go to documents, come over here as an end user, click on new, I have the technical document content type as well as the document content type as options. So now I can come here and type in gibberish and then go back, and you see, if I go into properties here, the columns that I specified for technical document are selected here. Now I can go in here and change the order. So say for example, if I wanted name, title, application, platform, and then description, because from a natural flow of things that, that may make sense to the user, I can go in there and change that. So I'll change that in a second. But before we change that, as just to confirm that the different options are available, right? And again, this is applications. So we want to go ahead and rename that. Let me just select SAP for giggles, and then hit save. Oh, description field is required, and then hit save. What if I did not want the description field to be, oh, maybe I'm typing too fast. The Wi-Fi here is really slow. Okay, so what if I did not want the description field to be required? And that was inherited based on the existing site column that I selected. So let's go back into site settings. Let's go back to where those content types are. And now what I can do two things. Instead of scanning through all of these content types that are either out of the box or custom created by other employees within the organization, I can sit here and filter the show group and then quickly get to the content type that I'm seeking. And now click on the description column. And for this content type only, this is where I'm changing the column options or the column settings. I'm going to make this optional. Right, and that only changes that required field or optional field for this site column for this content type, with the understanding that this site column may be used across many other content types, and they may have different requirements where it's required, or they may even hide it altogether. So that's that. So now description is optional, it's not required, and then I can hit change order to change the order in which these fields appear. Now I want application after title, so that would be 3, and then platform 4, and that would bump description to position 5, which is last. So now if I go back to documents, click on properties, it would give me the correct order for these guys. And then I can also, it seems like that didn't save for whatever reason. Let me try to save it now. We got that error before. Okay, something odd is going on here. All right, something odd is going on here. It's not with the content type itself. It seems like there's something interesting going on with the document library. Now let's go in and add in the other content type. So if I go to site settings, go to content types, and now this time what we want to do, we want to create, let's just do the test document. So the test document content type should have field, title, description, reviewer, application again, platform again. So reviewer is going to be the new one. This is going to be the one that we're going to have to create new. So let's go here to test document. And then as far as the out of the box parent type, that would be document. And this can also be, so a real information architecture, I know I'm just showing you this as a showcase, or just kind of proving this out. But a real IA will actually probably have like a SharePoint Ninja document, and that will have in some of the core fields that every document have. And then any content type that is based off a document that you need to custom create, 99% of the time that would inherit from that SharePoint document content type as its parent. So that way, if across the board, if something comes up in the future where it says, okay, for all documents, now we need to have the, this set of categories, you can just add that to the SharePoint document parent type, and then all of the content types that inherit from that will get that changed. So that's really the power of content types and chaining these together, is that it really positions you well for future changes, just in case. So that way you don't have to try to think of every possible scenario out of the gate and make things very complex, whereas you just add them in as they are needed. Okay, so test documents added. We have that named out, so I'm clicking OK, so that's going to create that. And now from existing, I need to add in description, application, and platforms. So I'll just go ahead and description. Again, description is going to have like 3 options. So let's select and make sure that we pull in from the document record management columns. And then application. And then platform. All right. And let's click OK. I'm not worried about the order as of right now. And now let's go ahead and create a new one. And then the new one is going to be called a reviewer. So basically, for the requirements document, or for the test document, for every test document created, there should be a reviewer assigned. And that's what this column will select. That is the person who actually reviewed the test cases or to review the test results, wherever the case may be. Let's go ahead and select SharePoint Ninja. I use the people or group, person or group type. I think all these defaults are going to be fine. And then go ahead and click OK. And then if I like, I can come in here and then customize the order again. But we're going to go with this default ordering for now. And then the last content type while we're here, I like to use this breadcrumb. This is actually pretty nifty. It only shows you 2 levels at a time, the current level and the parent, but it's actually pretty neat to navigate between these different screens. It really saves you a little bit of time. So here I'm on the content type screen again, filtering by the group. Go ahead and create new. And now while we're in here, let's go ahead and do the requirements document content type. And again, let's space this out of the box document. Put this in our custom group. And now this guy's going to be created. So now if I look at this manifest again, we need file title, which is going to be inherited, description exists, sponsor. Oh, that's similar to reviewer. Also, they do a sponsor and then application. All right. So the one we have to create is sponsor. So let's go and get our existing ones. I have no idea why it's so slow. Let's go ahead and hit description. Out of the 3, this is our guy. And then we need application. This is our guy. And then sponsor is something we would have to create new. All right, so then create new. Sponsor. Again, people in group field. And it's a cool thing about, these different types are important based on from a user perspective, right? I mean, you can make someone's life very easy and make it very user friendly, or you can make it a pain in the butt, right? So, for the sponsor, what we're doing, I'm selecting the person in group field because I want them to select using the people picker, which in turn is pulled from Active Directory, so that way they're only named users. Now, if this is a scenario where say, for example, they're dealing with partners or, customers or, things along those lines, then you may have to, use a single line text to where it's flexible because most of the people that they need to select from may not be in Active Directory. So, or they may not be invited to SharePoint as an external user. So those are things to keep in mind. So even if they are invited as an external user and they're added to SharePoint through the FBA or a federated process, right? And that's kind of built in with O365 SharePoint Online. The people in group field will still be a valid field as long as they accept the invitation, they logged in, and then they are available. You can still use this type field to select those partners and clients who may not be in your company Active Directory, but they are part of SharePoint Online. So let's go ahead and select the default group here, the custom group here. All these default settings are good. Okay, so now we're going to pop out. I have all my content types created. I want to go back to my document library under site set. Oh, sorry. I should be going to library settings. I got confused there. So go back to library settings. And then here, I only have technical document and document as the current content types assigned to this list. Our document library. So now we can go ahead and select the remainder, which is going to be requirements and test document. Now this is interesting. When I went in here, I know for this group, right, we have all 3 technical requirements and test content document content types, but only requirements and tests were available. And the reason for that is because technical was already added to the document library. So it's filtering out those who are already added. So that way you're not mistakenly adding things twice. SharePoint is so smart. Okay, so now we're back. Let's get rid of this guy. We don't need document, and we need to select one of these as the baseline, or as a default. So let's change requirements as our default. Oops. I clicked the wrong button. Let's make requirement as our default, right? So that's going to be our number one. Documents, we don't even want that to show. And actually, documents we can get rid of. All right, so now that's removed from the list. So now if we go to the documents library, click new, you see all of the three options. So now let's create one with requirements. Gibberish, gibberish, gibberish. Wait, saved. Let's go back to the library. Okay, so I got document 1 and document 2. Now in this view, it's kind of hard to tell which document is associated to what content type, or which content type. So the best thing to do is to go to modify the view, bring in the content type column, so that way you can help differentiate the different columns. The different content types for the document. So now you can see, now it becomes clear, right? You got technical and you got requirements. So now let's do this. Let's go ahead and batch upload a set of documents, right? So this is going to go ahead and load in, and I believe requirements is our default content type. So all of the ones that were batch uploaded will get the default. So another thing you can do, you notice that these are checked out. Let's see the reason behind that. I bet you it's that description field. Yep, description field is required. So because all of the needed values were not populated, it keeps the document checked out. Once I populate this, it may get an error because this thing's been acting weird this morning. Oh, it seemed like it took it. Let's see if it really took it. Let's modify the view. Let's bring in description. Click OK. Oh, there it is. This is a test. Okay, so it seems to be saving now. So now we have to go in here and explicitly check this in. All right. So now I'm checked in. The little checked out icon is gone. So this guy is checked in. It's ready to go. It's viewable by other contributors and visitors to the site. So now there's a couple of things we want to clean up. So remember that the term set, when we brought that in, it was saying application, right? So if we go here, the properties, and if you look at if you look at sponsor, no, I'm so confused, sorry. So if I switch this to technical, and this is another cool thing. So you have multiple content types to this library. Some of these are going to be default, right? So one of these, you have to select this default. We select the requirements. But what if I'm on the technical team? I'm the architect, and I'm uploading, these batch technical design documents or solution design documents, and now they're all coming in as requirement. Well, I want to come through. I need the ability to change the content type of that, and this is where you would do that. You can select it here, and then that will help you toggle between the different content types, as well as once the content type you're looking for is selected, the fields that you expect on that content type suddenly appear, and so, which is a really cool feature, right? So when we selected that, we had application as the term set. So let's go ahead and modify that term set. So I'm going to go into site settings. I'm going to go into the term store manager. And in the term store manager, you will see that I have these different groups here, and you can put security on these various groups. So only those folks who have access to them will be able to manage, the terms within them. And then also, what I can come in here now is then just highlight the term set and then rename that to platform, and that's going to give me the new name that I am looking for. And if I needed to add, like say for example, as things progress, and I need to add an additional platform. Let's say, for example, we want to add in, let's add in Sway as an example. It doesn't have to be all caps, right? So now I add in Sway. Seems like things are automatically saving for me. Oh, cool. So now if I go to site settings and go back to the library, find which one of these guys are technical documents, go into the properties of that guy. And then as I select this, you will notice the renaming, right? And that did not disrupt any previous values that I have selected. And then also you will see this option to where sway, the new value that I added, was added in. So very cool option there. Now, because you're working with a particular project, and the expectation is that there are going to be many project sites, a document library within that project site, and then you're going to have all these content types, right? These content types are going to be centralized. But over time, right, you may have 100 project sites, which means that you have 100 or more document libraries that all are listening and managing and are related to these content types. So in the next video, we're actually going to go through the gotchas, right? Because the value of the content type is that as this thing sprawls and grows organically, you still have the ability to manage all of these libraries. And actually, I think this is probably one of the probably the best way to do this via UI. Of course, in custom code, you can do some things that you can apply updates to all the libraries and all this other good stuff. But then you get into scan. You have to find all the libraries. You have to add the site column. Hope the user did not conflict with the site column name that you're trying to add, and have to deal with all those issues. But in the next video, we'll go through the updates. And we'll walk through those scenarios to where content types are updated successfully, and then those scenarios where content types are not updated successfully, or you may run into conflicts. And then in the video after that, we will go into the best practices on how to avoid some of those issues. Okay, so as of right now, that's how you create content types. Again, we created this at the subsite level. Ideally, this may be at the site collection level, but you know what? Organizations slice and dice site collection subsites and make power users owners at a certain level. Most of the time, it's at the subsite level. So, hey, here's your subsite. Go ahead and manage this. Anything below the subsite you own, you can create whatever content types you want, whatever site columns you want. You're good to go. Most of the time, you're not given access at the root site collection at the site collection level. But if you are, it's the same process. It's the exact same process. So I think the theory here is going to hold true either if it's at the subsite level or the site collection level. It's going to hold true. Now, more of an enterprise level, if you're doing it at the content type hub, same theory and practice, but there's usually a delay because at the hub level you have this subscriber and publisher concept. Whereas the hub is say, hey, this is available. Those who subscribe to it will get the updates, but those updates are available due to on a timely basis or on a timer job. So things are not as instant as they would be if it was managed at a more hierarchical site collection than subsite versus so on and so forth. So there's a little delay there, but the key concept is the same. So that's it for this video. Like I said, we will get into the gotchas in the next video. So I'll see you then. Take care.